everybody. Today we got a very special guest. We got the Mark Yannick with Titan Upload today, and obviously Jake and I here. I'm very excited to do this video, and we're very thankful that Titan Upload would come on and join us today. So to
Hey,
start
appreciate it,
off,
guys.
yeah, thanks for coming on. So to start it off, your Titans got the Giants week 1 at home. How do you feel about Harold Landry being out for the year? But obviously you got Derrick Henry coming back, but you lost A.J. Brown to Philadelphia.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me on that one. The thing is, like with Derrick Henry, you might want to avoid him on some of your fantasy teams. He has literally 5 running backs on the roster. 5. So why would you have 5 running backs on an NFL roster nowadays? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they're going to really limit his carries, especially the first few weeks, especially maybe till the Colts game in week 4. As far as Landry goes, you can't replace that. That's 97% of the snaps on defense that guy plays. He came out of Boston College with that injury to his foot, and a lot of people shied away with him. I mean, he was a first-round pick. We got him in the second round, and he had a little bit of issue his first year. But since then, the guy's been a warrior, and he hasn't missed any games. And like I said, he's playing 95 to 97% of the snaps. So Rashad Weaver's probably going to have to be the guy, and then they'll have to do it by committee. They also got Danico Autry out there now to try to get some reps, even though he's more of an inside guy. So we'll have to see what happens. Losing A.J. Brown, that's a nightmare. I don't really want to talk about it. They messed that up, and I think fans are really going to see during the season how big of a deal that is.
How do you think Woods and Burks are going to be able to make up for the loss of A.J. Brown? Like, how do you feel about those guys?
I'm not a big fan of Burks at this point. I think he can be good, but he's just too inconsistent. I mean, one day he's out there, the other day he's not. Makes a great catch, then gets hurt. He's unavailable. And again, it's not fair to him, but everyone thinks he's going to be the next A.J. Brown. I mean, rookie wide receivers, other than Jamar Chase last year, it takes time. So you guys got a rookie out of Nevada and for the Packers. I mean, it's going to take the same situation with going back to some of the rookies you took for the Dolphins. It doesn't just click all the time. So again, Woods coming off the ACL. We'll see what happens with him. Kyle Phillips, the fans love. And I mean, I'm still like, I'm in, I guess. I'm in. 5th round pick from UCLA, more of the slot guy, punt returner. But this team's double tight ends. They're going to run it down your throat and play good defense. And that's how they're going to win. They're not going to put it in Tannehill's hands because you saw what happened with him in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. And with that being said about Tannehill, do you think Malik Willis will see the field at all this year?
He should, and make it more of a package deal like the Ravens did with Lamar his rookie year. Flacco was the guy all season, but they threw Lamar in there every now and then and get his feet wet. I think the Titans should develop a package around it. He showed his athleticism. I know you don't want him just running around. He does have a rocket arm, by the way. Yeah. Just put him in his position, let him get some work. And, it could be 3 plays a game. It doesn't really matter. Or play him one game and maybe the next, play him odd games, whatever you want to do. Come playoff time, that's when you're really going to need a variety. And this past year against the Bengals, number 1 seed, I mean, that game was terrible. The offense had no movement in that game. Defense hung on, 9 sacks. They gave us every option to win that game. Tannehill kept throwing it to the other team. But the point is they just couldn't score points.
Yeah.
And giving Malik Willis gives you an option, when things get pretty tough. And so it just gives you just another weapon to use during the game.
And, that's something that teams really have to prepare for. And sometimes they're just not used to it with Tannehill coming out there every time.
Yep.
And then obviously my Packers, they couldn't score any points last year in the playoffs. So that's why they lost, because the defense played spectacular and the special teams was god awful. So,
yeah, both of us were number 1 seeds, right? We were supposed to meet in the Super Bowl, even though no one really picked us.
Well, maybe you guys. About playoffs.
Yeah.
Almost.
So next we'll hop up. All right. So Dolphins, Patriots. Jake, we'll let you get going there for a little bit. How you feel?
The Dolphins kind of always fare well. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like they always fare well in Miami versus the Patriots. I think Brady's record in Miami is a winning record, but it's not a very good winning record. I don't know if it's the heat. I don't know if it's South Florida, and there's so many things to do. And maybe it's always rainy. But the Dolphins have beaten Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and the Patriots a fair share of times down there, and I think this Sunday with Mac Jones and Tua, you're really gonna see who's gonna be fighting for second place in that division, because the Bills are just, I don't want to say they're like light years ahead of both of these teams, but like they're better than both of these teams. So like you're gonna have to play very fundamental football to beat the Bills. And I don't know. I mean, do you think the Dolphins can do it? I mean, I don't know. You're going to have a game from Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Tua's not going to have to throw the ball to the other team. But I think the Dolphins will fare well, and I think they get the Week 1 win versus the Patriots. But like you said, the Titans have like 5. How many running backs did you say they had?
5.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins have like 3 or 4 too. That, I mean, they've all been decent running backs. Like I don't think
Edmonds.
I mean, I think he probably starts. I don't think Myles Gaskin starts, and that's who played for us the last couple of years. So
yeah.
But it's the Dolphins are a question mark this year because new coach, Tua, Tyreek Hill first year, but it's also, you look flip side, like the excitement, like what could happen if everything works well. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they'll be a good team. They have been the past 2 years. They've been a watchable team. They've been over 500, so that should continue.
I like them. I do. I think they. I don't think you're giving you guys enough credit. I think the Bills, sometimes the media hypes them up way more than they should be. Don't get me wrong, the Bills are pretty good, but until they get to actually do it, I mean, you talk about us always failing in the playoffs and some of these other teams. The Bills, I mean, my goodness.
Historically, they just fail.
Yeah.
I mean, for years. And the Dolphins also have I think they're going to have a solid defense. I mean, I know Byron Jones was on I think he's going to miss the first 4 games. But when you have Xavier Howard and Byron Jones on each side of the corner, like each side of the field, that's going to be hard to. And then Holland, from that rookie from Oregon, like we're going to have a pretty good secondary, and it's going to be hard to throw. I think it's going to be hard to throw on the Dolphins. I don't know. I'm a Dolphin fan, so of course that's why I think that. But yeah, I think things are trending up down there in sunny South Florida.
I agree. And I think with the impact of Hill, I think he's going to have a monster year. And I think McDaniels, your new coach, I think he's going to just be impressive with the run game, the way he schemes it up, because we've seen that with the 49ers the past few years.
Yeah, he's something else, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a different bird. I love it, though. You never know. You don't know what you're going to get from him. It's not like Bill Belichick. You're always going to get slouchy, sitting down, not wanting to talk to you. But Mike McDaniel brings a whole different element to his conferences.
Yeah. I like Flores. I mean, I really liked Flores. I thought he was a great coach.
They won.
We
didn't make the playoffs, but I mean they won with him.
But I mean, in our situation, we went to the playoffs and won a game with Malarkey, and then they gave him the boot, and then they brought in Vrabel, and Vrabel ended up getting Coach of the Year last year. So, I love Malarkey. I mean, it just depends on how. But if they did any shady stuff to Flores, then obviously that's garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that debacle's over. I know Stephen Ross is. I don't know how he's the owner of the team, but he's not going to be able to go to the games for. I don't know how many games he got banned, but he can't go to any of the games for a while. But all that's behind him, and Tua can get a fresh start. And
this is Tua's make or break year.
Yeah, absolutely,
for sure.
If he doesn't do it, I mean, it's time to move on. That quarterback impressed me. Skyler Thompson.
Yeah, out of Kansas State.
What I watched, I know it's preseason. What can you really take from preseason? But man, he looked like he belonged out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's preseason, but yeah, some of these guys get to flourish, and that's what they need to make a roster, make a push, and have somebody notice them. So yeah,
that's what it did. It worked for him. He's on the team now.
Yep. So. I mean, they're not scheming yet. That's what Malik Willis will run in during the season, but once they start scheming, you really get to see. But hey, it looks great. Keep going.
Right.
Yeah. And then finally, we got my Packers. They take on the Vikings. It's in Minnesota, week 1. Normally, the Packers are pretty brutal in week 1. I think that's like Aaron Rodgers' warm-up game each year. We got Adams gone, and a few of our guys. We're not sure if they're going to play yet, but Bakhtiari, I'm sure you guys saw the news. He's supposed to play week 1, so that's a big get. He's been out for pretty much the last 2 years. Elgin Jenkins, he's our utility man in the offensive line, very good player. Tanyan, Watson, Lazard, all those guys not confirmed yet for the opener, so hopefully they play. I think our defense is going to be exceptional this year. We have studs all over the place on defense, and I think Rashawn Gary is going to be the guy this year with Zadarius Smith gone, and he's just going to play a lot more snaps than he has in years past, and he showed a lot of potential over the past couple of years. So,
I actually got the Vikings winning that game.
Do you?
Call me stupid, but I don't know. I feel like Green Bay, you mentioned it, they start off slow, and I think with this offense and not having a dominant wide receiver, it's going to take Rodgers and company a little bit of time to find it. But if they're able to run the football, then all bets are off. But I don't know how good Minnesota is going to be, but Minnesota seems to at least give you one game a year where they're pretty tough. Yeah. So I'm just thinking maybe week 1 is going to be the time. New coach, just like the Dolphins, a lot of energy. We'll see what happens there. But I hope the Packers win for you.
Yeah. And I agree with you, honestly. I mean, the Vikings, they got a lot of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Cook, Jefferson. A lot of people are high on that KJ Osborne. I just know that from fantasy football. So we'll see what happens. And in Jefferson, we talk later about offensive player of the year. That's who I think is going to win offensive player of the year this year, the last 2 years. Most ever receiving yards through 2 years. He broke Odell's record. So I think he's a stud. So I think the Packers are going to have to run a lot this year, and I think A.J. Dillon's going to have a really big year. So,
yeah, I like A.J. Dillon. We'll see, but he's a really power guy. You know, I mean, we saw him on Sunday Night Football last time we played you. Which was what? Was that
2020, the COVID year?
Yeah. I mean, he really showed a lot in that game, and you know, I'm very high on him.
Yeah. I agree. He's not as big as Henry, but he just kind of reminds me of Henry in the size of like his legs and just the way he runs the football. And I love watching Henry run the football. So,
yeah, the Dolphins don't have that power back. They got a lot of fast ones, so I wish we had a power back.
Dante Foreman was out there. You passed on him. That guy was a stud last year. I don't know why we got rid of him, but whatever.
What's his name? Sony
Michel.
And then I don't even think he made the team.
Oh, he didn't even make
the
team?
No, I think he didn't even make the roster. So I thought he might have made the roster and might have been there.
Yeah. Now, the Titans, is their backup running back? Is it Hilliard this year? Is that who it's supposed to be?
Yeah, but I think Haskins is going to be more of the eventual groom to when Henry's gone. What I would envision, this is what I'm predicting, which fans will get mad at me for this, but when it comes goal line situations inside the 10-yard line, I think they're going to trot Henry out of there because you take a lot of shots in the goal line situation. You know what I mean? And you're only picking up 1 or 2 yards, and they're going to bring in Haskins. And Haskins isn't explosive by any means, but he can pound it up in there, and I think they trust him. And he didn't have a lot of yards per carry, but I think that's going to be his role. And then Hilliard would be more of your third down back, maybe a long second down because he can receive. Both him and Foreman were picked up in the middle of the year. So that tells you just what you need to know about running backs. They're a dime a dozen. They really are. Luckily for us, we got the man. I think he's still better than Jonathan Taylor. And like you guys, maybe you got one in your Boston College. Well, he's not rookie anymore, but A.J. Dillon, he looks to be the part eventually too.
Yeah, and I think this might be the last year for Aaron Jones with the way that they restructure for the cap and all that other stuff that they do in the offseason. So I think this might be the last year for Jones. And with that being said, I actually wanted to ask you, so Henry, at the age that he is now, obviously not really any injury issues prior to last year, do you think that they're going to extend him into his 30s, or do you think it'll be a thing where he might have 1 or 2 years left in Tennessee and then they kind of cut ties with him, almost like what happened with Todd Gurley?
I honestly, I could see them cutting. They restructured him this year. I don't know what that means long term, but probably means they're sold for the next 2 years to Henry. After that, Henry's probably gone. I think most fans even realize that in Tennessee. The more miles he puts on, unfortunately. I mean, the guy works out better than anybody. I mean, that guy is insane. But I think 2 years is probably his max in Tennessee. And then I'm sure he'll get a shot somewhere else. They all do. And we'll see. Maybe the Dolphins will pick him up, Who knows? But, I mean, if anybody deserves the money, it's Derek. It's just unfortunate he plays running back. They don't really get paid a whole lot anymore.
Yeah. And that's sad, but that's just how, and they can't last as long just because of the hits they take and the position they play. So, with all that being said, let's get into primetime week 1 games. Mark, we'll let you go first. Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. Who you got in those games?
First game, going with the Rams because I do think the Bills are somewhat overrated. I think that's going to show up on Thursday Night Football. Monday night, I can't even remember who plays Monday night.
We got Denver at Seattle.
Oh, yeah. I actually have Seattle winning that game. I don't know why. Just it's one of those things where I just feel like there's earlier in the year, everyone thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl, even Jaguar fans. It's just that's how it is. And that's why everyone loves week 1. It's like Christmas Day. You got all the games on, especially even if you have DirecTV and you don't get the package. They will give you week 1 for free. Yep. It's and there's so many games on TV. I'm just telling you, it would not shock me at all if Seattle went. I think it's at Seattle, isn't it? I think they win that game. And then Sunday night, is it the Bears and the Niners?
It's the Bucks at Cowboys.
Oh, goodness. Give me the Cowboys all day. That one, the Cowboys should have beat them last year, guys, in the first game of the year. The Bucks are a mess. They don't have that Jansen center anymore. Brady took 2 weeks off to go in the Caribbean or whatever he was doing. No one knows. And their receivers are all banged up. So give me the I think the Cowboys trying to erase that, bad taste out of their mouth in the playoffs. I don't know if Dallas is going to be any good this year, but I think they'll at least be ready for Sunday night. That would be my most confident pick of the 3.
Yeah. Jake, how about you?
So I'm confused at why are the Bills favored at the Rams with them being the defending champs? I don't kind of get that spread because I think the Rams are going to win too. You know why they're favored on the road?
Everyone's pumping everything out of the Bills. That's what they're doing. Media galore. The media drives a lot. We know this, and pretty much everything if you think about it. Mm-hmm. So everyone's buying into the Bills, and you know how Vegas works. The more people buy in, and obviously they float that number higher, and I think that's all it is. And then the other thing we got to learn is last year doesn't matter anymore, right?
Right.
So everyone thinks they're 0-0. Welcome to Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs talk, right? Hey, we're going to win the World Series this year. And then after the first month, we're both like, yeah, maybe not this year. So that's what I think it is.
Yeah. But I think the Cowboys will win. I think they're going to win their division, so I think they'll win. And then I think Seattle's going to be awful. But I'm anxious to see how 12th man is with a bad team because we know how hard it was to play there when they're good and you can barely hear yourself think and they never sit down. So I'm anxious to see how they are with the team that's probably going to struggle. But I think the Broncos win. So I got Rams, Cowboys, and Broncos. Geno Smith, is that who started?
Yeah, that's who
I can't pick.
Not
them.
Sold at all on Geno Smith.
No,
it's gonna be fluky. Come on, fluky. Might be a punt return, stupid interception, pick six.
Weird things do happen out in Seattle at 12th man. I will say that.
And I'm not sold on Russell Wilson. So when we start talking about I've never been sold on Russell Wilson. He's a solid quarterback, but he had some really good defenses those years that they went and won. And a lot of times the ball bounces your way for you to win. But I've never been a guy that's sold on Russell Wilson. But talking about these picks, I got the Bills. I think that the Rams it's their ceremony night, all that stuff. I don't know how I feel about that. So I'm going the Bills. I think Josh Allen's going to win MVP this year. And I think the Bills have a lot of good weapons. So do the Rams. But that's just my call. For Sunday Night Football, I got the Cowboys like you guys do. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to take a tremendous leap this year. Obviously, Oklahoma guy, so I'm big on that. And like you said, they got a banged up offensive line. And Dallas always has a lot of weapons, and they have a lot of guys, a lot of just studs on the roster with the money they spend and the way that Jerry, gets players there. So I'm surprised they don't do better each year, but that's what it is. And I also have Denver beating Seattle. I think that Seattle's going to be booing a lot. A little bit of it may be for Russ, but I think a lot of it is just going to be how bad Seattle is. Because I was watching a preseason game this year when they were playing the Bears. It was a preseason game, and the fans were booing. I mean, it was. So that's how I feel about it.
I think this is gonna be one of Seattle's worst teams in a long time.
Yeah.
Then Carroll's gone, right? He's probably already close to being gone over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Is he in his 70s?
I think he is 70 years old.
He's up there. Yeah.
I mean, he's getting up there. So is Belichick. I can't wait till he's gone.
Yeah, well, and the Patriots, they don't even have an offensive coordinator this year, and like Bill Belichick won't even talk about it to the media.
He don't like talking to the media, period.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
So we'll get into divisions. What are your thoughts on the NFC division winners this year?
Well, I mean, the NFC North, I think it's going to come down to Green Bay and Minnesota. I think the Bears are. I don't know. I feel like if Fields.
I don't think they're going to be as bad as people. I don't think they're going to be as bad as. I don't think they're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the league, like a lot of people say.
No, I think it might be the worst team in the division, though, because I think the Lions are going to take a step up. I just don't think they're ready to compete at this point, just like Jacksonville. So I'd kind of view them as a mirror image. I think they're going in the right direction. The Bears have to figure out what they're doing. I know they're trying to rebuild right now, and they took the Jenkins guy, Roquan Smith. They're trying to float him around and trade, or he wants to be traded. I know they're trying to work it out.
Mm-hmm.
But Fields is going to be the guy. They got to help him out on the offensive line and give him some weapons. And right now, I can't think of a lot of weapons on offense, other than maybe Mooney or something like that, right? I mean,
yeah.
So the running back situation, I think Bear fans are a little bit too high on the guy from Iowa State.
Oh, David Montgomery.
Yeah, or is he still the guy? I don't even know who the guy is anymore.
They got a new guy behind him, I think, Khalil Herbert.
Okay. But their defense is going to be decent, but I think the defense is just
your defense can only do so much.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, give me the Packers just because of Rodgers. I think eventually I can't trust Kirk Cousins down the line.
No.
49ers, I think they will win their division over the Rams. It'll be a good one, though. Arizona going to be right there as well, but I think at the end of the day, I don't like Arizona's coach. Cowboys, Cowboys and Eagles. I think the Eagles are your mirror image of the Bills. A lot of people are pushing the Eagles, but at least with the Bills, they got a quarterback. I can't say the same with Jalen Hurts at this point. I mean, he's okay, but they just run the football a lot. I think eventually when they meet a team who can stop the run, they'll be fine. And then in the South, the Bucks, maybe they do it with Brady, but I'm excited about Atlanta, guys. You know me being a Marcus Mariota fan right over here. I'm excited to see him get a chance with Art Smith again and see what happens in Atlanta. But at the end of the day, probably just go with the Bucks.
Yeah, I agree. That's my 4, same as you, Jake.
Yeah, I think I like the Rams to win theirs. I think the Packers walk away. I don't even think anyone is within 2 or 3 games of the Packers. And then I think, who am I missing? I think Dallas. The NFC. What do they call it? The NFC least.
Yeah.
They always say that. That division
is poor.
Is just. You can go 500 and make the playoffs, a lot of times. So I think the Cowboys take that. Like you said, I think the Eagles are the second best team. And then, I think Tampa. Tampa. I don't think there's any other team that can play with them.
And I like Carolina. I think Baker will help give them more energy, but they're still really limited in what they have.
Yeah.
And McCaffrey, you can't count on that guy. He gets hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He does.
I agree. And that was actually my surprise team. I think if the Panthers are able to stay healthy all year, they might compete for a playoff spot, but I don't have them getting in. So to hop into the AFC, Mark, who do you got for your 4 division winners in the AFC?
Well, I hope the Dolphins beat the Bills. I really don't want to pick the Bills. But since everybody, that's everyone's favorite, I think it would come down to the Bills and Dolphins. I think the Patriots, Mac Jones takes a step back. And there's only so much Bill Belichick's going to be able to do. And the Jets are the Jets. So, I mean, they'll win a few games. They beat us last year. They beat the Bengals last year. But, yeah, give me the Bills. As far as the AFC West is probably going to be the funnest one. I'm still not buying Denver. I'm not buying the Chargers. So I do think it comes down to the Chiefs and the Raiders, actually. I think I'm actually really high on the Raiders. But I still think at the end of the day, with the Mahomes effect and stuff like that, I think the Chiefs win it. But Raiders close second. The Steelers division, the North. I mean, if Watson played the whole year, I would actually think the Browns had a decent shot at it. But give me the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to be fully healthy. Lamar's going to hopefully figure out his contract situation and maybe get away from his mom being his agent. But it's still kind of a cool story. I mean, think about it. I mean, who knows you the best other than your mom, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, I don't know how sometimes that's not good either because, your mom thinks you're better than maybe what we are, you know what I'm saying? Because they're mom.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out. Bengals take a step back. Their line's better and they'll make the playoffs and they'll probably win a game. They'll probably beat us. But long story short, I don't think they're going to have the magical run as they did this past season. So give me the Ravens. And then in the AFC South, Colts and Titans. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Give me the Colts. Colts win the division over the Titans because no one expected me to say that. And I would get crucified for saying that on my own channel. But I do think the Colts, in all honesty, are going to be the best opponent. Jonathan, if they run the ball like they should, which they don't like to do for whatever reason, unless they're playing the Bills. But I think it comes down to us. Ultimately, I think if Henry's rolling and our defense is good, we would win the division. But just for this show and knocking on wood and that kind of stuff, I'll go with the Colts because I do think they're gonna. It's gonna come down to a game.
Yeah, I agree, and it normally does. You guys are by far the 2 best teams in the division. I also have the Colts winning that division. I just think I'm not sure because at some point you got to pass the ball, and I don't trust Tannehill. And I think with the line the Colts have, Matt Ryan. I think with that line, Matt Ryan could be really good. I like Pittman Jr. And then the guy they drafted out of Cincinnati, Alec Pierce, I think he's going to have a surprisingly good year. And out of the AFC West, I got the Chargers. That's who I think is going to pull it off this year and win. They have a very good defense, talent-wise. Khalil Mack, one of the Bosa brothers, Derwin James Jr. And then they have really good players on offense too. At their coach at times last year, I didn't understand some of the things that he was doing. I think he cost them a few games. So if your coaching's bad, that's hard to overcome. So we'll see. I got the Bills out of the East, and I have the Bengals in the North. I do think that the Ravens are going to be a really close second. I think Lamar, he's got a lot to prove this year because a lot of people have been talking, saying that he doesn't, deserve that type of money. And so he's got a lot to prove this year. His weapons out of Mark Andrews have yet to be proven with Bateman. And then they had a lot of talk about Isaiah Likely, the tight end. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But that's my 4. Jake?
I think how good's the AFC this year? I think this conference is loaded. Every division has about 2 or 3 teams that could make the playoffs. I think the Bills are going to win. I think it all comes down to if the Dolphins can split with the Bills. The last couple of years they've gone 0-2. If they can split with the Bills, I think they can beat the Patriots twice. I also think they can beat the Jets twice. I could see the Dolphins win the division if they split with the Bills. If they go 0-2 versus the Bills, they have no shot. So I think the Bills win I think they win the division. You got to take the Bengals. I think after last year, I know it's probably going off the hype, but I don't know if I trust Lamar. I remember last year when the Dolphins absolutely torched Lamar on Thursday Night Football, and then the Dolphins won 7 games in a row after that. Watching the Dolphins just completely take him out of the game. So I got the Bills, the Bengals, and then between the Colts and Titans, I'll take the Colts. But I mean, and then who's the other division?
You guys are expecting way too much out of Matt Ryan, though. Come on.
AFC West. Yeah, you're probably right. He's probably on the downturn.
I mean, who do you pick out of the AFC West? Every single one of those teams can make the playoffs. I mean, yeah, I'll go with the Chargers. Just like Cole. So, I think when you got a quarterback like Herbert who can just
who the Dolphins should have taken. I know that probably haunts you and will for the next probably 15 years.
I don't know who made that. I know I was all in on Tua, and I mean, I feel like he's gotten the short end of the stick a lot. I mean, he's done some good. He's also done some bad, but
just being a lefty quarterback, I feel like it's just hard in the NFL.
I just feel like he's not as bad as – I just feel like if the media wasn't so – if the pitcher wasn't just around Tua, like, and they wouldn't pick out every bad thing he does, like, I don't think he's been that bad. I mean, he's got a winning record. He's beat Herbert in head-to-head games. He's 3-0 versus Mac Jones. I mean, why is Jones and the Patriots getting all the talk, and then everyone thinks Tua can't do anything? I mean, he's won in Arizona versus your guy.
Who, Kyler?
Kyler.
Yeah, Kyler.
I mean, he's won some big games for the Dolphins. The AFC's been so good lately that 10-7 doesn't get you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get 9-8 not getting you in, but 10-7, that was a disappointing year. 10-7 and you don't get in. I mean,
and I think a lot of it is Herbert. He does a lot of things well. His stats are always super high, so he's going to get a lot more attention. Tua's stats cannot compare with them.
No.
And it's just how it is with turnovers and stuff. So, all right. Well, lastly, we'll go into our wild card teams. Mark, who do you got for your wild card teams?
I got to run, guys. I'm sorry.
That's all.
Craziness is breaking out.
All right. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
I appreciate it a lot. All right. Tighten up, guys.
See you.
Hands up.
Thanks. All right. So we'll finish. We got to thank Mark for coming on. It was super nice of him. Hopefully we collab with him again down the line, maybe when the Packers play the Titans. But to finish it off, we'll go wild card teams. Jake, we'll let you start off NFC.
Okay. Oh boy. Let me see some teams here. These years.
Yeah.
Well, I got the Rams. Don't I got the Rams?
Yeah, you had the Rams winning the division. So then, I'll start her off.
Yeah,
I'll start her off. So for the wild card teams, NFC, I got the Rams because I got the Niners winning the division. I got the Eagles getting in because I got Dallas winning the division, and then I got the Cardinals also coming out of the NFC West. I think there's some other teams that could be in play there. I just don't trust Jameis Winston with the Saints.
Not Baker either with the Panthers.
Not Baker. The Vikings. They could fall in there. I think the Vikings. They might.
That's
fall
the thing.
in there.
There's going to be the NFC is not as good as the AFC this year. It's not. It's not like. I mean, you could see a 500 team get in. I mean, because we don't. How good are the Eagles going to be? Like, I do think 2 teams get in. Like, I think I would go with the same as yours, except who's the other team in that?
You want to flip that and put the Niners in?
Yeah.
So Jake's got the 49ers, Eagles, and Cardinals. Now, what about the AFC, Jake?
Yeah, okay. Now that I'm a little bit better on the AFC. I got the Dolphins are getting in. This is gonna just because I think they are.
Is that a lock? The Dolphins.
Yeah, it's a lock. The Titans and the Ravens. There's so many teams that you're gonna leave out a team. So I'll go with the Dolphins. I think the Titans get in.
Now, see, with me having the Chiefs, Ravens, and Titans, I'm leaving out the Broncos, and
there's gonna be 2 or 3 teams in the
Vegas.
AFC.
The Broncos and Vegas. I don't have Vegas getting.
There's probably gonna be 3 or 4 teams in the AFC that are 2 games over 500 that miss the playoffs because there's not enough spots.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If we go back a couple of years ago and they only take 2 teams, there could be a team that's 11-6 not get in. How bad would that be?
Yeah. And I think for you to be guaranteed in the playoffs this year, I think you got to win 12 games.
Well, in the AFC, you might have
I
to
think
win
you
12
have to be guaranteed. I think 10 or 11 is pushing it. I think you got to
11,
win
I
12.
think, gets you in. 12 for sure.
12 safe.
10, if you can get to 10 wins, you'll be playing for a playoff spot every week.
Yeah. Probably on the outside looking in, but we'll see what happens. Everything could change. So we'll get into just some accolade stuff here at the bottom. Super Bowl prediction. I got my Green Bay Packers against the Buffalo Bills. Probably not a lot of people expecting the Packers to get to the Super Bowl with the loss of Devontae Adams and rookie wide receivers and what else. But we've been there really close each of the past few years, and I think this is the year we get over the top. If Rodgers, can come through and play and do what he's proven to do, and we've even seen him do it without Adams before. So we'll see what happens there. I think our defense is going to be so good that all we have to score is about 21 to 27 points a game, which I think we can do. I think our defense is going to wreak a lot of havoc, and I think the Bills, probably the Bills, that game against the Chiefs. Remember that?
Chiefs, yeah.
That's a legendary game. The fact that they lost that, I was kind of shocked that the Chiefs got down the field and what was that, like under 20 seconds?
Didn't they get 3 possessions in a row? There was like score after score after score. You couldn't even take your eyes off the TV.
Yeah, and the Bills, they got some weapons too, and they got a pretty good defense. So I see it being them two in the Super Bowl. I don't see the Bengals getting back. It's so hard to get back to the Super Bowl after being there.
Ask Dan Marino.
Yeah, and it's hard to win it. Ask Bills fans.
Yeah, ask Bills fans.
So my MVP this year, I got Josh Allen. I think he's going to go for 45-plus total touchdowns, probably anywhere from 10 to 12 interceptions, and well over 4,500 passing yards. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I got Drake London. I think he's going to get a lot of targets his way in Atlanta. I mean, Pitts is there, but other than him and Pitts, they pretty much got nothing. They got Cordero Patterson at running back, but he's on the bad side of 30, and they're just not going to give him the ball as much as they did last year. They're just not. I think Drake London's going to have over 95 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and probably anywhere from 7 to 10 touchdowns. I mean, he's big. First wide receiver taken. He's tall. He's strong, 6'4". And then I just think he's going to have a really good year. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm watching a lot of Hard Knocks. I'm sold on Aiden Hutchinson. I think he's going to have 12 sacks, maybe more this year. He's a great player. Probably the most surefire draft pick in the draft this past year. And for Offensive Player of the Year, like I said earlier, I got Jefferson out of Minnesota. I think he's going to go absolutely bonkers this year. And then Defensive Player of the Year, I think T.J. Watt might repeat again. He won last year, had 22.5 sacks. The guy is unbelievable. The fact that the Packers took Kevin King over T.J. Watt still haunts me to this day. That's probably one of the most embarrassing picks, not of all time, but just super embarrassing. Guy out of Wisconsin, hometown kid, would have probably loved to come and play for Green Bay, and they took Kevin King, who just didn't really do anything for us, to be honest. Many people remember him for getting burned in that game against the Buccaneers on that touchdown right before half. So, Jake, same thing. You want to go through with yours? Super Bowl prediction, MVP, that type of stuff.
Yeah, Super Bowl. So these are I don't really like making predictions like this because there's about 5 or 6 teams out of the AFC that I could see. Now out of the NFC, I don't really see that many. Like I could see the Rams again, the Packers, but I think the Packers. I think this is the year with it being down. Like I just don't see the team that they can't beat. Now, can they be beaten? Sure. It ran through Lambeau last year and they got beat, and I was all over the Packers to go all the way. And
yeah.
So, but
we kind of embarrassed the Rams that game. I mean, we played exceptionally well that game. But anyways,
so I got the Packers, but I think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are still. Mahomes is still there. I think the Chiefs. If it runs through Arrowhead. I think Packers Chiefs. That's who I'd go with.
Wow, that'd be a great Super Bowl.
That would be a great Super Bowl. Where's it at this year?
I don't know. I'll look that up really quick. Keep going.
Is
I'll
it
look
in?
really quick.
I don't think it's in Vegas. Why does it seem like it might be though? Okay, well we'll get back to you where it's at. But that would be a fun Super Bowl. It'd probably be one of the highest scoring Super Bowls ever. Because both of those quarterbacks can just go down the field and score.
It's in Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Vegas is on the list. They're in the next couple of years.
So is Miami.
Yeah.
I think Miami's 2026. But I don't really have all those stats like Cole does for the players. That
was just guessing. That was just my predictions.
I didn't get into it that much, but my Super Bowl picks, we both got the Packers, and
I have the Packers winning.
How far do you got the Chiefs going? I
got them losing to the Bills in the AFC Championship.
So it's close, but I mean, who else could be there? I mean, could the Ravens? The Ravens could be there. I mean,
the Bengals could be there.
Bengals could be there. I mean,
really anybody could be there. There's a lot of things. You get one game. It's not like other sports where you get 7.
I'm just telling you, the sleeper team. One of my sleeper teams is. I know I got to make in the playoffs, but I think the Dolphins could. I think if they get in, I think they could be a tough out because I mean you don't know what they're going to run. I mean, are they going to hit you deep? Are they going to let Tyreek? Are they going to throw screens? Like I know any team can do that, but when you got Tyreek and Jalen, and then Gesicki and Cedric Wilson, and
they're a good team.
They're going to go as far as Tua will take them.
Yeah. The Dolphins are a really good team. I hope they do exceptionally well this year for Jake. I hope they suck on Christmas Day because I want the Packers to win just by a lot. The past few times they've played, the Packers have won. Jake's seen them win once when they played against us.
They've played some. They normally play. Besides the last game we went to, they've played some pretty good games.
Yeah.
The one in Miami came down the last second.
Yeah, Rodgers had the fake spike.
Then the previous one we went to, the Dolphins won in overtime on a game-winning field goal.
Packers won the Super Bowl that year.
So, I mean, every time they play it, for some odd reason, they're close. They're good games.
Yeah.
And I don't see why this one wouldn't be. The Dolphins are at home, so.
And here's my take on it. So this is probably Tua's last year unless he really proves something.
Yeah.
So if Tua doesn't prove something this year, the Dolphins still have one first-round pick next year because they traded with somebody. I've seen it. If the Dolphins don't do it this year with Tua and they come in, they get a rookie that ends up being really good, I think the Dolphins could be impressive next year. We're super impressive. And maybe that Thompson guy takes a leap, and maybe he becomes really good. I mean, you never know. He was seriously impressive. And I even texted Jake. I said, do you think this guy's going to get snaps?
And I told him, I said, I know it's preseason, and I wouldn't look too far into it, but, man, it was hard not to. He was making throws that you don't make as a rookie, even in preseason.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's going to be – I mean, the AFC stacked. I mean, it's going to be so fun. Every game's going to be tough. I mean, that's why when you look at – if you're an AFC fan and you look at the schedule, man, there's no, like, oh, we're going to kill them. I mean, maybe when you play the Jets – maybe when you play the Texans.
Maybe the Browns early on.
The Browns, yeah, because
that should be a win.
Yeah, when's he come back? Week 11?
Week 12.
So the Dolphins get lucky and play him before.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I honestly think the Browns are going to have some karma for trading Baker away. He was hurt all last year.
I hope he does well.
I hope he does well too. A big Baker.
Does he have any? Who's he throwing to though?
DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson,
okay,
McCaffrey.
So he's got. Oh wow.
I mean.
So he's got some guys already there.
Yeah.
I mean,
those are good players. They stay healthy. They're good players.
I tell you what, he's got that down here as a sleeper team. We're at
right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That would out of the NFC, absolutely.
And Baker's got a lot to prove this year. So
with what? Yeah, Carolina, watch out.
Yeah. Just there anything you want to touch on, Jake?
I mean, what's going on with Tom Brady?
Oh, the drama with his wife, supposedly.
Everyone thinks he's just vacationing. I think, we don't know, but the reports are that she's upset because they agreed that he would retire after this year, and he didn't, obviously. He did, and then he didn't. So, I mean, what's going on? I mean, I don't think it's going to affect him at all because we've never seen anything affect him. But we don't know. He's 45. Like,
I think the guy's going to play till he's 50.
You can't tell the future, but
yeah.
So yeah.
I know you want to touch on who the Jets starter will be. I think if Wilson's healthy, it'll be Zach Wilson.
They don't. I mean, you got Flacco, so you got a proven backup.
And a proven starter. I mean, he did win the Super Bowl.
You're a proven starter, I meant, yeah. But I mean, you gotta. If you're the Jets, you have to know what you have in Wilson. So if he can go, he's got to go.
Top 2 pick.
I understand you got Flacco. You have to. If after 5 or 6 games you don't have it, okay, well, Flacco's not going nowhere, so then you could start him.
Yeah.
But you have to find out what you have in him. I don't know. I mean, you don't. I don't know that there's much there, but then a lot of people don't think there's much there with Tua. I don't think there's much there with Mac Jones either. The whole AFC.
I don't either.
The whole AFC East has unproven quarterbacks.
Besides
Josh Allen. I would say in their short NFL's career, Tua is the second behind those guys, behind Allen, because he's 3-0 versus Mac Jones, I think. And I also think he hasn't lost to the Jets. I could be wrong.
Not. That'd be a bad
loss.
But
I just don't get the Mac Jones hype. I don't see it. I mean, he's not mobile, is he?
No.
I don't think he's mobile. He just at least Tua can be mobile. I've seen it. We've all seen it. Watch his highlights. He's got a lot of plays where he's escaped. A lot of them, not just 2 or 3. And I think Tua's pretty accurate on the run. I think his deep ball's not that good, but whose deep ball really is that good besides Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? I mean, to be honest, and maybe Justin Herbert. Like, deep balls aren't easy to throw.
No.
But they don't have to be easy to throw when you got Tyreek and you just go tell him to catch it.
Go get it.
That's another thing. I don't think Tua's got to put up impressive numbers this year for the Dolphins to win. I know I've said this before. He just got to dump it. He doesn't – what's the word I'm looking for? As long as Tua doesn't make mistakes, I think everything else will take care of him, for him. So, yeah, he might have to make a couple throws a game.
He just can't make any risky plays.
Yeah, that's
it's got to be the safe play.
Yeah.
It might be boring at times, but he's just got to make the safe play, keep him in the game, and they might end up winning.
Hey, if they win, I don't care how they win. They won a lot of games last year because of their defense.
Yeah.
Which I think could be a top 10 defense this year, especially in takeaways.
Yeah.
Because Xavier Howard is a ball hawk.
Mm-hmm. Even though sadly he's gonna miss the first 4 games.
No, that's Byron Jones.
Oh, Byron Jones.
Xavier Howard's gonna be there, and
right.
so is Javon Holland from Oregon. So 2 ball hawks, and then when Byron Jones comes back, I'm telling you,
you got anybody in there that's gonna get to the quarterback? You guys got
Jalen Phillips, who was a rookie last year from Miami. Shout out to the U covering. Kind of screwing me on that 50-point spread, but yeah, he came. Jalen Phillips is good. They're going to have a good defense.
Yeah.
So just like the Packers.
And yes, and lastly, Mitch Trubisky, QB1, at least for Week 1 in Pittsburgh.
Right.
I think that's not going to last very long. Kenny Pickett being from Pittsburgh, hometown kid, I think. Honestly, I think by Week 5. Kenny Pickett starting.
I don't think so. I think Mitch Trubisky got the shit end of the stick in Chicago. He went 12-4. I understand they had a good defense. They should have won that playoff game. I think Mitch Trubisky is an okay NFL quarterback, and I think anybody that goes to Pittsburgh,
Tomlin's a great coach,
just because of their history and I think any quarterback that goes there is going to be good. So I think Mitch Trubisky, I think that's their quarterback.
For long term or
no, I don't know about long term, but for right now, I think that's their guy. I think they got a good backup, absolutely. But I think Mitch Trubisky is an NFL. I think he's an NFL quarterback. And as you can see, you don't have to be the best to win because Philadelphia won with Carson Wentz. Stafford won last year. Ooh, I think so.
Stafford is a really good quarterback.
I didn't mean to say that. He's a phenomenal quarterback. He always has been.
He was just in a bad situation.
He was just on the Lions.
Yeah. That's pretty much all there is to it.
So
the only reason I say that with Pickett is because you know how fans are. They want to see the guy you took. They want to see the rookie.
Yeah, but I
think the Titans fans might come clamoring for Malik Willis.
I don't think the Steelers buy into that. I think they're too good of an organization. I think that's Tomlin's team.
I think Tomlin's
Unless
arguably the best coach.
unless he wants him, I don't think he listens to the fans. I don't think their organization does, because I just think they're too good of they're one of the classiest organizations in the NFL, and I don't think they listen to anything.
And if they have good quarterback play, the Pittsburgh Steelers can be a tremendous team, because Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very good defense, and they have a lot of weapons on offense. They could be a really good team.
But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is one of his seasons where if there's a season that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be not have a winning record, it's this year. Every team they play in that division. Look at the division they're in. They could go. I mean,
you're going to play 6 division games. You're probably going to lose.
You're going to play
Ravens.
2 to the Ravens and 2 to the Bengals.
Yeah.
And then you're going to play 2 to the Browns. Now, if you play one of those games after week 12 with Watson, I mean, you could lose that game.
Yeah. And
I think they could go 1-5 in their 6 division games.
Yeah.
And I know Heinz Field. It ain't Heinz Field no more. That's what I'm going to call it. You don't win there. You will win there this year.
And I agree.
You will win there this year.
I agree. I agree a little bit. I still think they're going to be 500, though. I think Mike Tomlin always somehow finds a way for them to get 500.
So they're going to be 500 with Trubisky and Pickett.
Yeah. He did it last year with Ben. Washed. Ben was washed. Ben was bad.
I tell you what.
Don't tell me Ben was good last year. Ben was terrible last year.
He was bad. He was hard to watch. But if they're 500, Mike Tomlin should be in discussion for Coach of the Year.
All right. So,
is that how good you think Trubisky is in with the division with Lamar Jackson,
Joey Burrow,
and Deshaun Watson for the last 7 weeks of the season? I mean, if they go 4-2 or 3-3 in those 6 division games,
it's impressive.
He should be up for Coach of the Year, because those are 6 games that you could lose.
Yeah. I would never count the Steelers out.
I would never either. But I was saying if there was a year, it'd be this year.
And this is just my personal. This is kind of a hot take I have. I don't know how you feel. Watson, I know it was a preseason game, but he just seems off. He seemed really rattled when he went out there.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Maybe not this year. If he does come back this year, I don't think he's going to be spectacular.
I think he 1,000% needs to come back just to get a feel for the game again, going into the next year. Because then that's where I think, not this year, but next year, Browns, watch out.
Yeah, next year Browns should be amazing.
He's a phenomenal quarterback. What he did in Houston, aside from everything else about him, when he's on the field, he's great. And he took a lot of Houston teams that were bad.
Yep.
And just shout out to the Cubs, tie game.
Nope,
warning track.
But yeah, I agree with you. Watson is a very good player. Yeah. What he did off the field, no. But we'll see what happens there. Nick Chubb's a stud. I hope he runs for 2,000 yards this year. I like watching him run. I just not the biggest fan of the Browns anymore because they got rid of Baker.
But I think it's going to be a fun year. There's going to be a lot of close games, especially in the AFC.
A lot of close games. You know what? While we're here, I'm having a good time. If you don't mind, Jake, you want to talk a little bit about college football the past weekend?
No.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I don't, because of what happened to my team. I mean, he might.
Oh. Yeah, OU looked great in the opener. They looked really good. They didn't play against anybody huge, but we'll see. I think the Brent Venables era got off to a good start, and I think it's going to continue throughout the year. I think they could be the playoff team. I think Alabama is guaranteed to be in the national championship.
Georgia's phenomenal.
Yes.
Georgia's just –
both of those teams will be in the championship.
Georgia has to be the team right now to beat even Alabama after watching them.
Notre Dame didn't look that. I honestly thought Notre Dame would get smacked in that game.
Well,
the offense was nowhere near as good as it should have been, but they played pretty good. They played three really good quarters.
It was only a 17-point spread though, and they lost by 11. So Vegas wasn't thinking they were going to get smoked either.
I thought they were going to get smoked, but they played pretty good.
I just think Big Ten football, like that's what Big Ten does. Like, it was a grind out. You might be winning until halftime, but are you going to be able to last this long of us coming at you down your throat defensively? And that's what Ohio State did. Yeah. I think Notre Dame's a good team. I think they probably lose one more game. I don't know if they get in this year.
Well, when it gets expanded to 12,
because I know they got
Maybe a lot
to
of
play
teams, yeah.
Clemson. They got 2 or 3 other tough games. But yeah, Illinois.
yeah, Illinois should have won that game. Wow.
I mean, they should be 2-0. I mean, I don't want to go on a rant here, but I love Brett Bielema. I think he's a good coach. I think he is the coach. I think he's a coach. I still think they could make a bowl game this year. In fact, I still think they will. But man, they just continue.
That's a tough loss.
They just continue to lose games. Even last year in his first year, they continue to lose games down the stretch because they can't figure out how to win.
And they couldn't get it in the end zone. But that guy did catch a touchdown. He caught that ball twice and scored, and they still didn't give him a touchdown.
And look, everyone around here, for the most part, would cheer on the Illini if they're good or want to see them win. But when you lose goddamn games like that, you don't get the other fans that just love college football. You only keep your diehards. Illinois has to win a game like that and start out 3-0, beat Virginia. Then you get fans like him. You get other fans around here that are like, hey, let's watch Illinois football. But
because not many people say that right now.
You can't lose a game like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to watch them every week because I'm a diehard. But they just can't lose. They can't keep losing games like that.
Jake is loyal to the core. With all that being said, obviously, if anybody watched the UNC Appalachian State game, that game was bonkers.
I mean, that's college football. Or LSU and Florida State.
Yeah, that was nuts too. Wow. I couldn't believe that.
I mean, I had to bet any money overtime.
Wow. Yeah, same.
Shout out to the U. That's a team, I'm telling you. Tyler Van Dyke could win Player of the Year.
We'll see. I hope Miami
could win Heisman.
I actually like Miami.
He is so they week 3 they play at Texas A&M, and then they've got
that's a big game.
Then they have Florida State, but it's in Miami. I also think they have Clemson. Now after watching Clemson and Georgia Tech, I don't think
beatable.
Clemson doesn't scare me like they used to.
No,
I think they can beat Florida State. In fact, I think they smoke Florida State at home. But Texas A&M is the game that scares me. That could ruin.
Where's that game at?
At Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'll be. I don't know when that game is, but I'll definitely be watching it. That'll be an exceptional.
If they
game.
win that game, they'll be in the top 10. I'd say they're 13 or 14 now.
I agree.
I just think
the rankings came back out today. They are top 15.
I think Van Dyke's that good. I think he is a stud.
Yeah.
He is a Heisman watch. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. In fact, he might be the best. And I'm not – it's because I watch a lot of Miami games too because of the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. But Illinois is my team, so ILL. Shout out to the U, though.
OU at 7. And also, me and Jake figured out how to do lives on YouTube. Put a request in. We can't do it for another 24 hours. But down the line, we're going to be doing some lives, maybe after games, and maybe even this Sunday we'll do one. I'm supposed to be off, so maybe this Sunday we can do one.
Yeah,
live, get people in here, get talking, see what goes on. So we'll give that a shout. We'll give that a shot, and just glad that Tighten Upload could come on today. It was really fun talking with him.
It was absolutely. Thank you again.
Yeah. So Jake, anything left you got to say?
Fins up.
Make sure to like and subscribe and give a subscription to Tighten Upload. So everybody have a good one.